Welcome, everyone. Today is Monday, February 3rd, 2025, and this is a regular meeting of the City of Asbury Park Planning Board. Chairwoman Kurzak, can you please call this meeting to order?
Yes, this meeting is being held in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the Coaster and Asbury Park Press by publication of the annual meeting notice and posted on the Municipal Bulletin Board and municipal website. All notices are on file with the Board Secretary. Official action may be taken on the following matters before the Board. This meeting is being recorded via APTV. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will now take roll call. James Bonanno.
Here.
Councilwoman Clayton.
Here.
Jim Henry.
Here.
Jeremy Hoffman.
Present.
Mayor Moore.
Here.
Jen Souter. Here. Daniel Shinameo.
Here.
Bob Zuckerman.
Here.
Catherine McLaughlin.
Here.
Vice Chair Goonan.
Here.
And Chairwoman Barbara Kurzak.
Here. Jack, can we go over what how we're going to proceed with the resolutions?
Unlike applications for development, you don't have to have an adoption of the resolution. It's just a memorialization of the action taken. So all you got to do is sign them.
Okay, so we're good.
We're good.
We can move
We
on.
can go right on.
Okay.
Yeah, and the contracts, and remind all the staffers to sign their contracts as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right, though, we have one application today, 711 Bangs Avenue. Can we just get a summary of who can vote on this one?
At the last meeting, all the members were present. Hold on a second. Well, yes, I was going to say, except for anybody that, so basically, James, Councilwoman Clayton, Jim Henry, Jeremy Hoffman, Mayor Moore, Jen Souter, Daniel Shinameo, Vice Chair Goonan, and Chairwoman Barbara Kurzak.
All right, so we have 9, and that's our 9.
That's your 9.
So you got 9. The alternates can participate if they like. I also know that Catherine has listened or reviewed the transcript or the video of the
Watched the
last.
video.
I did too.
He did too,
Okay, so
yeah.
both, so if we needed them to vote, they could, but they won't be able to vote, but they certainly can participate.
Absolutely, so feel free to ask questions and whatever you need, and, all right, let's move forward.
If I may, Andrew Karras, on behalf of the applicant, 725 Madison LLC. We're here with regard to property at 711 Bangs Avenue, Block 2506, Lot 6. As the board may recall, we were here previously on this application as a result of a number of suggestions by the board. Went back to the drawing board, revised the plans. Predominantly, the first floor, we had parking. We had very tight parking on the first floor. We have eliminated the parking, and at the board's suggestion, which we agreed with, we put commercial down on that first floor. One thing I do want to bring to the board's attention, which I find in 2 of the reports that were generated by the board's experts, they note in there that there's a commercial parking requirement, and I would respectfully disagree with that. And the reason I say that is this: when you actually do look at the redevelopment, it does state, it has 2 paragraphs for parking under the CBD mixed use. First one has non-residential, none for floor area in existing structures and for floor area of structures that existed at the time of the adoption of the Central Business District redevelopment plan, or 10,000 square feet of non-residential construction, whichever is greater. There is a second paragraph under that in the redevelopment plan, I'm reading from page 12A, that mentions new non-residential footprint construction requires space per 1,000 square feet. Now, 2 points I want to bring up. When you actually look at the amendment that was done for the redevelopment plan, amendment number or ordinance number 2912, it has in there on page 2, 2912, which was adopted August 6, 2009. Now, I looked, I didn't see that it was updated. This is what I see, the only thing I see for the amendment for the redevelopment plan And it says, on page 12, below the paragraph setting forth the parking requirements in the CBD mixed-use district, revise the non-residential parking requirements section to read as follows. And what it has is that language that you find in the first paragraph. It doesn't have the second paragraph. I believe, and I could be wrong, but the way I see it, is that that second paragraph was the original paragraph, but when it was updated, the redevelopment plan, it wasn't updated consistent with what we're finding in the ordinance that was enacted in 2009. Separate and apart, this particular property, although it is currently a vacant lot, when you look at the history of this lot, there was a building assessment on this property up until 2005. 2006 onwards, there is no building assessment, it's only a land assessment, which would tend to suggest that there had been a building there, and it's certainly established by the fact that you have brick and you still see parts of the foundation on that particular lot. That being the case, a building did exist at the time this redevelopment plan was enacted, and I believe the redevelopment plan was enacted in 2002 or 2003. Thus, under paragraph 1, even if paragraph 2 was to still be enforceable, which I don't believe it is based upon the amendment that occurred in 2009, but separate and apart, based upon the fact there had been a building in existence in 2005, based upon the assessment records that I reviewed, there would be no parking requirements, and the commercial that is being proposed is under 10,000 square feet. So before we get started, I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention to consider as to whether or not there is in fact a commercial obligation, which would then obviously go to whether or not we would have to pay into the fund for 4-point-X amount of parking spaces that were calculated, all right?
All right, I have a number of thoughts about that, but I'd rather, sure.
Solemnly swear testimony that you received. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give to the board will be the truth and whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. State your name for the record, your affiliation with the board.
Tom Miller, board planner.
Thank you.
Do you want to get Sam too?
Sam, you can jump in here. Okay, Sam.
board engineer.
Okay, thank you.
So, there was an amendment to the redevelopment plan in 2018
Okay.
where that text we're citing for the non-residential parking comes from.
Because I was reading through the plan amendments, it doesn't, I didn't see it in there.
I actually have a copy of the 2018 resolution.
Great, if you can send that to me.
Absolutely. I am curious though about this. You said it's in the assessor's records there's a building?
When you look at the tax assessment records, it has, a building is listed or assessed until 2005. 2006, they only assessed the land. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you the resolution.
Okay, thank you.
That was the old Chabelle Law Firm building?
I don't know.
I
Couldn't-
think so. Might be.
Can we get some, I'm asking for the board. Can we get some clarification here? Do we even have purview of all of this? Because none of us have whatever you're reading from. None of us have whatever Donna has. So none of us have the background that you're coming from. And to Jack, I'm asking, do we even have a purview to even decide that?
Well, we have to apply the law as it's written.
Right,
Yes,
who,
most modern form.
okay,
I'm just finding this out now in this dialogue.
okay.
So if Donna can enlighten us, according to this last ordinance amendment, what is the parking requirement, if any, for commercial?
What I've cited in my report and Sam has cited in his report is based on the 2018 amendment to the CBD plan. So.
And as far as we know, that's the latest.
Yes, there were amendments after 2018, but they didn't affect the parking. It was
Agreed.
other stuff.
Understood.
And so parking is required for commercial use?
New non-residential uses, yes.
Except if,
No.
Hold on a second. But you're saying it is for commercial use, parking is required, for non-residential use?
New non-residential uses.
Right, so why, your point, Andy, would be that because there was a building but was demolished, I mean, wouldn't that be, I mean, it's not like if there was ever a building there, it's like if a building's there now, it doesn't have.
now because when you read it, it says none for floor area in existing structures and for floor area structures that existed at the time of the adoption of the central business redevelopment plan.
Yeah, but you don't have that floor area anymore.
But it did exist, that building did exist at the time the CBD redevelopment plan was enacted.
Right, but once the building is demolished, you no longer have the floor area. Floor area is only for a building.
But that's not
Floor
what it
area is
says.
not for a land.
That's not what it says.
Well,
No,
2018.
what it says is, that existed at the time. Right.
And it exists, that.
Is it for that specific building? Or is it for, read the clause again, because I don't have it.
It says, none for floor area in existing structures and
Okay,
for floor area structures that existed at the time of the adoption of the central business redevelopment plan.
for floor areas,
That existed.
yeah. It's a matter of interpretation. Does it mean that the building still has to exist?
Well, then why separate those
I
two?
don't know.
Then why have building floor areas and a separate
I
clause?
don't know.
I think
This is
you-
the first I'm hearing.
You have the and in case someone wants to buy a building and redevelop it, then you're grandfathered in, right?
And if it-
One view, yes.
if it gets more than a superficial application, then the interpretation either goes to the zoning board or to the redevelopment authority.
Is it our role as a planning board to be interpreting the law, or should our council kind of take time to review and then give us a legal opinion?
Of course, there's always some interpretation of the law, okay? But if you get down to whether there's a real decisive issue as to whether or not there's parking required or not, and the ordinance has some ambiguity whether it would apply to this case or not, then that's a zoning board issue.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel comfortable trying to adjudicate a question of
No.
what was the intent of the amendment in 2018 and how's that interpreted. I mean, as the chair mentioned, we don't have the technical skills to make that
And it's
determination.
not, it wouldn't be within, you can't go more than just on the surface anyway, because then it becomes a zoning board issue under section 70 of the land use law. Or in redevelopment areas, sometimes it's the redevelopment authority that we have to go to.
I know here, the zoning office takes a position that it is not the redevelopment agency, that's basically the mayor and council, but the land, zoning board
Yeah,
that
so
adjudicates.
then, unless it's clear that it applies or not, then we'd have to go to the zoning board for an answer to the interpretation.
Right, because really the bottom line here is that you're looking to find out if you have to pay for 5 extra
That's right.
parking spaces. That's what the bottom line is.
It's a matter of $75,000.
Right, but it's still, that's the bottom line. And it's not within our purview, so let's move on.
Yeah, no,
Well, I think what you're concerned too is that, do you need to ask for relief?
We would need relief, yes.
Well, you could have, you would be able to have the relief if, it depends on what the zoning board says.
No, actually, the board in the application could give the relief, but whether or not we would have to pay would be a decision by the zoning board. So the relief would come from this board.
Right.
If, based upon the
Understood.
application that they approve, if you guys approve the
Right, because
application.
that was coming to us anyway. The relief was coming to us no matter what happened in all these
That's right,
amendments and
whether or not we
whatnot.
have to
So
pay.
that's
So
fine.
we can say you have to make a contribution for any required
Spaces,
and leave that to.
yeah, leave that to the zoning board to figure out.
and then if you want to follow.
If it is the zoning board, because as much as you say the zoning officer says this, I believe you, it might still go to the redevelopment authority, which is mayor and council.
I'm telling you, the zoning officer
It's
takes a
something we have to
position.
look into, I believe, but.
I
Your
would
reason-
tend to think, based upon redevelopment law, it should go before the mayor and council as the redevelopment agency. That's my belief.
I'd have to look at the plan
Yep.
for such a thing,
No.
but in general, it's the zoning board.
Okay, well, you guys work it out.
Things get a little more-
Decide.
That's correct. That's correct.
That's fine.
Yeah, so we could proceed, and as Michael said,
Yep.
if it's required, this is what you have to do. And as far as we're concerned, that's what the requirement will be, unless you go to the zoning board and get relief there.
Very good.
Should amend that ordinance.
Well, law, you close 2 doors and 3.
If the redevelopment authority agrees, it's the zoning board issue.
Right.
Maybe not. I might not agree with you. I don't know. I might agree with
I
you.
say none of us know right now.
I don't know.
Right.
No, I don't know. I don't know the
Hey, but it's
answer.
not us.
Right. The only thing we know is not us.
Point of clarification, though. We don't need relief if we pay into the fund for obligated utility. So it's the choice that we have.
It'll be in the, whatever the agreement is.
Okay. All right, moving on.
Moving on.
We understand. We all understand.
Based upon the comments from the board at the last hearing in this matter, we did make certain revisions. I have two witnesses that will testify as to the revisions to the plans. First, I'm going to call our engineer, who have previously testified on this matter.
Daphne, please raise your right hand again. You solemnly swear affirm that the testimony you have to give in this matter be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
State your name for the record.
Daphne Galvin, Galvin.
And are you still licensed in the state of New Jersey in good standing as a licensed professional engineer?
Yes,
And you testified at the last hearing?
yes.
All right, we're good to go.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Okay.
No.
Do you know what exhibit we're up to?
No, I was going to ask.
If not, we'll go to AA. That's all.
I think so.
So I found the button.
Found it?
Yeah, it's not blinking. I don't know the progress of it.
Takes
Okay.
Oh, there it is.
You got it?
Okay, but hazing ritual here or something.
We're up to A3.
Okay, John?
That's what I see.
That's the last exhibit, or?
That's what we started with
We're starting
tonight.
with?
Yeah.
Good. Daphne, I'm going to have you take a look at what's up on the screen. Are those the most current plans that were prepared relative to this matter?
Yes, that actually is sheet 4 of 9 of the site plan set that was submitted recently to the board.
Okay. What I'm going to
And what,
do...
and I'm sorry, what's the date?
The date is, the initial date was April 10th of 2024, and the latest revision is January 14th of 2025.
Okay. And this is 4, you said?
Sheet 4.
4 of 9?
But it's A3 for identification. Taking a look at sheet 4 on A3, can you please describe to the board what we're looking at?
Sure. This is the grading, drainage, and utility plan sheet. It includes the layout of the building, as well as all of the utility connections and various site improvements.
And what, if any, revisions were made from the last time we appeared?
Sure. So as Andy had previously noted, the ground level of this building, which was originally proposed as a parking garage, has been revised to be retail space. Because of the elimination of the parking garage, the existing driveway that serviced the site and would have serviced the new garage has been eliminated. And in eliminating the driveway entrance, we're able to continue the paver band along the curb line along Bangs Avenue, and we're also able to install a street tree that we weren't able to squeeze in before when there was a driveway there. So those are the major changes in the front of the building, is that the driveway is eliminated, the paver band is extended, and we can install a tree. And then in the rear of the building no longer extends the entire depth of the property. There's a 5-foot rear yard in the back that's fenced in. And that area is accessible through the retail space through a door in the rear of the building.
Now, you mentioned a tree that is being proposed on the front of the building. Can you please describe the kind of tree that is being proposed?
I think it's a London plane tree.
London plane?
Yeah, I'm gonna just assume, yeah, because I think that's what, yes, London plane tree.
And there's no other room and no other landscaping is being proposed, am I correct?
That's correct.
And what about drainage for the site? Has that changed?
It's just been modified slightly because of the change to the building. The original design had proposed a green roof to accommodate the fact that the project is considered a minor development based on the Asbury Park ordinance. Because of the reduction in the size of the building, we were able to slightly reduce the amount of green roof that was necessary to meet the standard. Otherwise, the design is the same.
All right, is that the extent of the revisions that you've made to the plans, the engineering plans?
Yeah.
Okay, what I want to do is just hit a few of the items in the review letters, the updated review letters. What I'm going to do is mark as B3 for identification the updated review letter from Leon S. Avakian that's dated January 29, 2025. Now, if you're taking a look at what's been marked as B3, the Avakian letter dated January 29, 2025. Going to completeness review number 5, makes mention of loading spaces. None are required because retail is under 3,000 square feet. Am I correct?
Correct.
Number 6, landscape plan indicated it's only one tree that's going to be planted in the front, and that's a proposed London plane tree. Am I correct?
Correct, and all that information is on the plan. There's no grass proposed, which was one of the comments in the letter.
Number 7, talking about areas of the site retained as private or public common open space. There is none in these plans. Am I correct?
Correct.
As far as phasing, the building is going to go up as one unit. It will not be a phased development. Am I correct?
Correct.
But developer will meet with the city before any development to go over street closures and submit a plan relative to that. Am I correct?
Yes.
And sidewalk closures, correct?
Yes.
Going now to page 3, the Avakian letter. Stormwater, operation maintenance manual for the green roof, no objection to that, am I correct?
That's correct. We'll provide that, yes.
Maintenance plan, no issue with that, am I correct?
Correct.
As far as access to the roof, as far as you understand, we're going to provide a hatch and a ladder to provide access to that roof, am I correct?
That's my understanding.
And we'll go through that with the architect.
Right.
Irrigation, 13, is any irrigation being proposed?
No.
Off-street parking, there is going to be no off-street parking on site, am I correct?
Correct.
Right.
Just one second if we can. Can we talk about the ladder? This ladder?
That'll, the architect.
The architect will talk about the ladder?
Correct.
Okay.
Lighting, the architect will address that, but there's no big street lights being proposed
Oh,
outside.
just, what, did I miss the off-street parking? Did we go over that?
There is no off-street parking.
They're asking for the relief.
Right, but we're looking at the spaces.
So that's what he was discussing earlier. So
Right.
if the board grants the relief, it's either going to be up to the next agency to approve it. It's 14 or 9 unless they determine to be 14.
Is this where we would see that that we're gaining a space
On the street?
on the street?
Yeah, of course, you don't have the curb.
Yeah, you're not going to have curb cut.
Okay, I'm just asking if this is where we would
Yes,
say
you will end
that.
up, by eliminating the driveway, there's additional space on the street now.
Okay.
Continuing on, exterior lighting, looking at this site, right across the street, there is a Cobra light, am I correct?
Correct.
Directly across the street, so no exterior lighting aside from accent lighting is being proposed on this site, am I correct?
Correct.
321 is the London plane.
Irrigation will be with the architect?
No, there's no
No, we already
irrigation
indicated
proposed.
no. Signage will be addressed by the architect. The remaining items will be addressed by the architect. Under the general comments, the last thing I'll have you address on page 6, staging we already went through. We'll meet with the city, go through a staging plan to ensure pedestrian safety, vehicular safety. No issue with 24. You've already addressed that by adding a note to the plan. Am I correct?
Correct.
As far as the constructed sidewalk. Pavement repair, you've already added a note to the plan, number 25, am I correct?
Correct.
Hold on. What about the signs?
I said signage, I already said signage will be the architect.
The architect?
26, public and water sewer, you've added that plan, am I correct? That note to the plan?
Yes.
Connection fees, no issue with that, we'll make the required connection fees, am I correct?
Yes.
And Says 28, correspondence from the owner of the rear utility pole shall be submitted to reflect the...
It's gonna be gone now, right?
What's that?
It's gonna be gone now, right?
Can you address that utility pole in the back?
Whether it's being
Well,
removed?
so now it's not gonna have to be moved, correct?
Oh, yeah, the building doesn't conflict with the utility pole. Hey, how about you? Did you want to talk about this?
Oh, yeah, the Shade Tree Commission. We'll submit to the Shade Tree
Yes.
Commission what is being proposed in London Plain Tree. And I believe that addresses all the comments.
Just two small
Sure.
ones too. The rear area, we know it's gonna be used for, because it's not, there is a discrepancy if we are gonna do, it's not the architectural plans, the door.
The architect will talk about that. They're going to add the door in their plans to match.
Okay, but the rear yard area is just gonna be,
Paved? What is it gonna be paved?
It's just going to be gravel. There's nobody back there.
And then the real one is the grading. There's like a 3-foot elevation difference, so do you know what we're gonna finish for, how are we gonna address it?
The architect.
Architect,
All right, now architect's doing 30 also?
I'm sorry.
The architect's doing 30 about their access to the retail
It's gonna
space?
be there. It's really gonna be if it's locked, I'm sure that's gonna be the architect, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I don't believe there's anything in the CCH report. Why don't we mark that as B4, the CCH report updated January 29, 2025.
And who's going to speak about the refuse area, the size of the refuse area?
Architect.
Okay.
Architect has a lot to testify.
I can see that from my notes. Okay.
That's all the questions I have.
So the lighting plan, there's no lighting plan?
No,
Or is
the
that the
architect will
architect?
talk about the building mounted fixtures that are proposed.
Okay. Does anyone have any, members of the board have any questions for the engineer?
I have two. Last time we talked, there was an encroachment issue with the meters of the building next door. Is that still present, or what's the
Well, that's not
situation?
going to change until we actually begin construction, or before we begin construction. I know my client has reached out to the adjacent property owner, and I know they've been playing telephone tag a little bit, but they're trying to get in communication to discuss how that's going to work.
I just thought I had read in one of the reports, there's no longer a conflict.
I can't say that there's not an encroachment, but they have altered their building slightly, so there's a gap now between the two buildings.
And that's the architect
That's
also?
I expect we'll hear more from the architect about
Okay.
the dimensions.
Okay.
Correct.
And my only other one was, since obviously we took out the parking garage, that means we also took out bike parking. My question was, and it's James down there? Oh, there he is. And, like, would a bike rack on the street like move the needle or not?
You asking me?
Well, yeah, both of you.
Depends on the place of that tree, trying to get the probably not, now that there's no drive, no ramp there, there's probably space for one. It just depends on the place of that tree.
Yeah, we located the tree to kind of split the difference between the trees on either side of it. Keep it pretty evenly spaced.
I guess my question would be like, could you consider putting in a bike rack since there's no?
Oh yeah, there's plenty of room.
Okay.
Okay, bike rack.
Any other questions from members of the board? Any questions from our professionals for the board? From our board professionals for this witness? No? Any questions from the public for this witness? No? Okay, next.
Okay. Thank you.
Sir, please raise your right hand. Solemnly swear affirm. Testimony about this matter, the truth, the truth,
I do.
Please state your name for the record and spell it.
Daniel Zanetto, Zaneto.
Thank you.
Dan, you're familiar with this application?
Yes.
Have you testified relative to this application previously?
No, my colleague Daniel Conditor testified at the previous meeting.
But you're familiar with this application, the plans that were prepared for this application, am I correct?
Yes.
All right, let's give the board the benefit of your qualifications.
Before you get into things,
Hmm?
you're a licensed architect in the state of New Jersey,
Yes.
and your license is currently in good standing?
Yes.
How long have you been such?
Licensed in 2003, or 2023.
We asked this question regarding your familiarity with plans, and drawings, calculations, and the like.
Yes.
Thank you.
Dan, I'm going to have you take a look what's up on the board, and we've marked that as A4 for identification. Those are plans that were prepared by Mode that you're familiar with, am I correct?
Correct.
And Mode is your employer, that's who you work for as an architect, am I correct?
Correct.
And a lot of revisions have been made to these plans following the last hearing we had in this matter, am I correct?
Yes.
What I want to do is go through the revisions of the plans in detail so the board is familiar with what has been done with the project.
Okay. I can start here, the front elevation. Now, this is a new exhibit that was prepared for tonight's presentation. So it's a little bit updated from what you have in front of you, just with some minor corrections and things to address some of the items that were in the review letters. As you know, the main revision to the plan here is the deletion of the off-street parking and the addition of the commercial ground floor space. That has allowed us to make a greater storefront area, engage the pedestrian zone, and the upper floors are also been reconfigured, the interior layouts. The footprint of the building was adjusted to provide a 5-foot rear yard setback, which allowed the units to be reoriented towards the front and the back of the building. So starting on the ground floor, this is about a 2,400 square foot retail space. We have 2 exit stairs that both have corridors leading to the front for egress. We're considering this corridor on the right kind of the main entrance to the building, access for the residents, and this is more on the left is more of just an exit only kind of corridor. Your lobby and your elevator are located here. Currently, there's a utility room and a trash room on this floor. We'll talk about those as we go through the review comments as well. And the upper floors
I'm
each
sorry,
have...
before we continue, wasn't there another change in this building, the footprint of this building?
Right.
What was the other change?
There's a 5-foot rear
Right?
setback.
Was there anything on the side of the building changed?
On the side of the building, no.
So both, yes, there was.
Yes.
Okay.
Was the building pulled off a little bit from the adjacent property?
At least in the notes, it stated it was.
Yeah, the western wall was here too.
Yeah. Did the western wall come off a little bit, provide a little area, a little relief between the 2 buildings?
I would have to check. I mean, I have it drawn here at the property line, so I'm not sure that it had.
Actually, that's not drawn on the property line. There's a space.
Well, the property line is the dashed line that you see here.
Okay, so there's something wrong, either in the descriptions that we've read or on these plans. There's something wrong.
All right, we'll get clarification on that. Go on.
Okay. The upper floors, we have 2 dwelling units on each floor. They're 2-bedroom units, and that's on floors 2, 3, and then on the 4th floor, the units also have access to a penthouse and a roof deck. And this is all similar to how it was laid out previously. On the roof, we have a small green roof area,
as well as green roof on top of the penthouse roofs, and an area for mechanical equipment in the center of the building.
I'm sorry, what's marked as the first floor plan, that's actually the second story?
That's first floor for residential, but yes, the second above grade.
So is that one unit or two units?
You have 2 units on each floor.
So it says Unit A, so, okay, I guess it's just missing the label for Unit B?
Missing a label there, that should be
And then on the
Unit B.
second floor, you have 2 Unit As.
Correct, that should also be Unit A and Unit B in the back.
So it's a total of 6 units, am I
6
correct?
units total,
So it's
correct.
a 3 over 1 unit. 3
Okay.
floors of residential over 1 floor of retail, am I
All right,
correct?
we need those rectified. And just to be clear, we have, in every unit, we have a windowless bedroom, in every unit.
There is 1 in each unit, correct, in the center.
And those, according to the city, are indeed bedrooms? Windowless rooms. They are indeed called bedrooms?
From the city's perspective, they
From the
would be
city's.
considered a bedroom because it's got a door and a closet.
Okay,
And it
so,
has my understanding is here, if you have other means of light and ventilation, then it doesn't need a window. Is that correct?
Under the building code, it would need to have mechanical ventilation and light, yes.
So let me ask you, because now you're set back 5 feet from the rear yard, right?
Mhm.
So could you not have a legal window there in that bedroom, since you're
That-
facing a rear yard now?
That window does have a window.
It's the
The middle one.
And that's part of the reason why I updated this elevation here, the rear elevation, to show those windows for the rear units.
It's the central bedroom you're talking about. Do you mind showing?
I know where it says primary bedroom, that doesn't.
Yeah, so there.
yeah, I don't see a
Right, the
window in
second
the primary
bedroom.
bedroom.
So it's just not shown on these plans, but there's also a bedroom in the middle of the architectural plan. Dan, you can scream it right there. Yeah, that's the one that doesn't have a window.
Right,
Right,
and then
but-
for this unit,
But it looks like the primary doesn't have a window
the
either.
primary
No,
does.
you-
Where is
It's
that?
just not shown.
That was on,
That's on the revised elevation here.
right there.
Okay,
thi-
so.
This is the street
so-
elevation, this is the rear elevation, this is the primary bedroom, this is the living room with the slider and the window.
So,
It's not shown
maybe,
on the plan.
It's not
yeah,
shown.
I don't get it. I don't understand why we don't have updated plans. I don't get it.
The plan, these are the new elevations that are being provided.
Right, but
Plan-
the next
plans-
page right there,
Floor plans don't show.
the floor plans don't show us what
Yeah,
we're,
will
that
be
was just
updated
an
to
error in the
reflect
plan,
those changes.
there should be windows on each of these rooms on the rear.
so where do we discuss the ventilation of this windowless bedroom? Who talks about that?
Well, what's
Because
up
that's
there-
required.
Is there ventilation that's going to be provided within those bedrooms that don't have windows?
Yes, they'll be provided with ventilation.
And where would I see them on these plans?
We don't have
those are
engineered
mechanicals.
mechanical drawings at this
Okay.
point. I mean, once we move on to approved construction documents, then we would,
So
You
is
wouldn't
that
see
something
those in
that
the
you would
site plan.
approve, Sam, or is that something that building?
Traditionally, no.
So that's building,
If you'd like it.
construction would approve that? Okay, okay.
I just, since we have a lull, the clarification, the previous application had 35.6 inches, now you have 35.5, or 36, excuse me. So your width of the building went down 1 inch now. So that's the shift that we're just talking about. That's just looking at last application, the building width, if you look on the top, is 36.5, now they have 36.6. So it looks like it is still on the property line, but I just.
Right,
Yeah,
so essentially there's
Except
nothing.
that the
An
engineering
inch
plan-
is-
No, yeah, I look, yeah. it
The
should.
engineering
That's
plan
what-
shows a 0.9-foot offset.
Right, yeah.
So
it's
there's a little discrepancy in the width of the building.
11 inches.
Yeah.
So, right, so are we saying 11 inches, or are we,
It's just 0.09.
That's correct.
yeah, is it 0.09 feet?
0.09 is what I'm seeing on the.
There's an inch on either side of the building. They abut up to the adjacent buildings.
So the 0.09 is not, 0.9 is incorrect. That's on all of our plans.
No, it's 0.09.
I'm saying, 0.09.
0.09 is about it.
Oh, so it's an inch,
So it is an inch.
not 11 inches. Okay. Okay.
Except for that corridor that runs on either, actually it does, that is included. All right, continuing on. The elevation of the ground floor, difference between the front elevation and the rear elevation of the property, am I correct?
Correct.
How's that been dealt with?
So there's two ways that we'll deal with that change in elevation. And I think it will depend once we get out there and we can do some exploratory test pits to see what kind of adjacent structures we're dealing with here. But we will either provide a retaining wall and then lower the grade in this area, the 5-foot area behind the building, to meet the finished floor of the retail space. Or we'll provide steps inside the retail space to a landing and a door out.
It would have to be in the front, it wouldn't be, or you're saying, so either way, like, if you just dig a hole, you're gonna be creating a ponding issue in the rear. It's like, that's a no-go to me.
Okay.
Unless you can move that wood, I don't see how you're gonna do that. And if you
If, in that case, we'd provide a stair inside the retail space up to that level.
They could do that, it's like 4 feet, what is that, 5 steps? 6 steps, so you'd have to show, you'd have to show, I mean, like, that's something that you feel comfortable saying, okay, that's different. So what he said, so there's a 3-foot difference from the rear of the yard to the front of the yard?
The rear is higher?
The rear is
The
higher.
rear is higher, yes, so you have to put a stairwell somewhere, or theoretically, you could also excavate down and build down, but then what you're doing is you're building everything down and you're creating just a pond in the back.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
So if you don't do that, you'd just be taking up, you'd probably be better,
Wait,
how much
wait.
space would be taken up?
So is there a door from the retail space to the backyard?
Yeah,
There will be, yes. Yeah, it's not shown in this plan, but
Even
there would be.
access out,
Yes.
even though it doesn't go anywhere?
Even though it doesn't go anywhere, just to service that area, clean trash, whatever happens to blow in that space, and just keep it maintained.
And it's 3 feet?
It's 3 feet, so then, like, I mean, you'd also then have, did you show on your renders, the wall? You'd have now a 3-foot wall, like, that's, so you're just showing a wall, okay. All right, so you could do it, then.
Yeah, this would come up, and then this door would come up
Right.
a little bit
It's
here, right?
3
feet,
Yeah.
yep,
Sounds good.
right.
Where's this wall? I don't see a wall.
So they don't show it, so there's a 3-foot discrepancy that they're not
Right.
showing, so that
Right.
door will be raised. So you'd have to also then have stairs go inside to get it out. It can be done, it'll just take up a lot more space.
But to provide that rear egress, that's what would have to be done, am I correct?
Yeah, and it is not an egress,
Or
It's just a
rear
rear
access.
setback,
Access.
yeah.
Access. Okay. In terms of the roof, access to the roof, why don't we talk about that?
Right.
Can we, I'm sorry, can we get back to the first floor, I'm sorry, the ground floor retail space, is there 1 or 2 retail spaces?
There's one retail
There's
space.
1 full retail space, so there's one point of egress is the front door, and the other point of egress is by stair B. So it's 1 retail space.
Correct.
Right.
And we're not counting the door going out as an egress, that's just, what is that?
That's
The door to the
access to the
rear
roof.
is not.
Just an access to the rear.
No, because there's no way out of that alley, it's just for maintenance.
Okay, thank you.
All right, going now to the roof, let's talk about what's up on the roof and the access to that roof.
Okay, so on the roof, you have 2 small penthouses that serve the units below. There's a green roof area that's used for the stormwater management, and a mechanical space in between the 2 penthouses.
And what's the
I'm sorry,
calculations for that roof area? You have it on the top right?
So that's 3,242 square foot roof area, 20%.
I'm sorry, say that again?
So 20% of the total roof is 648 square feet. What's being provided is 490 square feet below the max of 20%, am I correct?
Yes.
The mechanical units, those based upon the location are screened, so you're not going to be able to see those from the street, am I correct?
Right, they're set back from the street as well as being tucked behind the Unit A penthouse.
Very good. Access to the roof, how is that going to be accommodated?
Access to the roof will be provided within one of the stairwells. We'll have a ladder and a hatch up to the roof. And then there's also,
So,
Could you show us where that
Yeah,
is?
it's gonna interfere with the green roof, won't it?
If we put it in here, right?
It's not gonna, but so if you put it there, like, still, I think it's.
Yeah, it's gonna go right into the green roof.
Extend the either stairwell or elevator to the roof.
Yeah, we want you to just make a bigger elevator bulkhead.
Well, the elevator, I don't think
So,
makes
yeah,
any
I'll
sense,
just
it
throw
would be
out.
staircase.
That's fine too.
Does that say elevator over? There is an elevator.
Yeah, but to extend that up to the roof doesn't make any sense.
Well, but you have a structure on the roof, right, for the over, it says elevator over.
The overrun is just an area that pops up above the roof to
It's like a
house.
bulkhead,
Right,
same thing.
but there's no access through that elevator bulkhead.
And how tall is it,
The elevator,
the overrun? Is it the height of the
It's
elevator?
10 feet, I'm sorry. It's 9 feet,
it's typically only about 4 or 5 feet above the height of the roof.
And you don't need a stair access to the roof?
We were proposing
Three
a
over
hatch,
one
a ladder and a hatch,
with occupied room?
your staircase.
But we still need to know where the ladder is going to be, and is the ladder attached to the hatch, or is this a portable ladder?
No, it's a.
It better
it's
not be a
fixed-
portable ladder.
Fixed ladder within, attached to the wall within the stair.
Okay, we need to see where that is.
It's not shown. It's something that we would add based
So
on
could you
the.
point out where it would be on the floor plan?
So we would put it here at the top landing. It would be attached to the side.
Yeah, and that's not an uncommon thing to provide access to the roof that way. Now, the individual units that have penthouse, those have their own staircases up to the roof, am I correct?
Correct. The units on the top floor have stair up to the penthouse. And if any large equipment needed to be brought up to the roof, it could be done through one of the units if need be.
Could you just show on this drawing where the roof access would be relative?
Right, where's the hatch?
Yeah, it would be somewhere in this area.
So you have
So-
a roof drain there, it may work as stairwell B. I'd like to see it, I think.
We would add that to the
Yeah,
plans,
we
sure.
can certainly add that to the
Yeah,
plan.
stairwell B, you're kind of in the middle, you're probably out of,
This one here?
yeah.
Yeah.
And are there any dimensional requirements for the green roof? I mean, it could.
No, they can
the
move
shape
it,
of
yes, yes.
All right, in turn,
Wait, we have not finished, where is the hatch? Where is it? Because right now, it looks like it's in the middle of the green roof.
We
So
would
where
adjust,
is it?
we would adjust the green roof as needed. I would like to put it here because this way,
Here where?
in this
Show
stair,
me. Yes?
because this way the hatch would be in this area and you would step out onto the roof as opposed to putting the ladder here and then coming up next to the edge of the roof, which would not be ideal, but.
so you're proposing the staircase on the right for the hatch.
Staircase on the
And you can
right.
move the green roof to accommodate that.
The green
hatch, am I
roof,
correct?
we can adjust the outline, the footprint of that green roof as needed. Right,
So the green roof could
can-
move to the
I
left.
I can move this in and make this deeper here and move these units. So we're not
Either way, you'll
tied to the
maintain-
shape of that green roof. We'll maintain the square footage of that green roof, but we would adjust it as needed to work around the roof hatch.
I mean, you could put it on the left side of the penthouse as well. It could be,
Right,
it
you're-
doesn't have to be as
Right.
wide as it is on that side.
Correct.
It could be,
It could, yeah, we could
But
reshape
if you
it.
put it on the wall next to the elevator, then it would come up, it wouldn't interfere with the green roof at all then. Because it would come up like behind where the elevator overrun structure is, the hatch.
Actually, Dan, you're right, that if you put it in the hallway by the elevator, you could just go right up there,
Yeah,
next to the
and
elevator.
it would not, it would not.
It wouldn't interfere in anything.
Pop up right
I don't think you want a
beside.
hatch in the.
Yeah, typically we try to put these out of the way.
The hatch should be in the ceiling, right?
Try to put the ladder to the hatch in a way, in an area that's out of the way and not in a main corridor. Most of the people using this building are gonna be taking the elevator, so to put it in the stair would be preferred.
It's out of the way, it's not visible. And again, you can move the green roof to accommodate it. Easy enough to do.
Okay.
All right, number of other matters I want to go through. The trash area, why don't we discuss that besides the trash area, any revisions that are being proposed to it?
So currently the trash room is about 6 by 6. We would propose to make that larger now, based on the review letter, to about 6 by 12, which is double the size, and that would meet the 72 square feet, which is 12 square feet per dwelling unit. So that would be proposed in this area here. We'd make this larger, possibly flip the utility closet to the other side of the elevator.
And that would be sufficient to accommodate all the trash in the building, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, residential trash.
And what about the commercial trash? Should that also go into that room?
The commercial trash could be shared in that room. If need be, we could make that room larger.
It shouldn't be shared. I mean, it can be shared, but it's either going to be shared or it's not going to be shared. So
But it's all going to go into that room?
right, if it's all going to go in the room, then it has to be a bigger room.
So there's a
Right?
separate standard for commercial refuse. It may really enlarge that room, so maybe just.
Well, the
commercial
alternative
space
is to
has
do
it.
it right within the retail space also. That we can do.
And just have their own little
And
cardboard
have their
storage
own little-
area.
Andy, I'm not sure if Carter wants to talk to you.
Yeah, I mean, one.
Wait, not out loud. Talk-
6 units.
Carter,
Not out loud.
Carter, I can't have you talking out loud on the record, so why don't you talk to Andy?
But we could either accommodate there or separately for the retail use, have their own little trash area. All right. Next, lighting for the building. What is being proposed?
So, excuse me. Lighting for the building, we have only 2 exterior accent lights at the ground floor that are proposed.
What about on the roof?
So these 2 sconces here for the exterior lighting.
And the kelvins are no more than 2,700 Kelvin on those lights?
That's correct. I can pull a cut sheet here. This is the proposed light. So this has interchangeable bulbs. We can put in the correct Kelvin temperature bulb to comply with the requirement.
Okay. And what about on the roof?
We're not showing lighting on the roof, but if we did have accent lighting there, it would be similar to what we have, the same fixture.
Okay, but there
And
is,
these are just accent lights. They're not for overall lighting the site or site lighting in any way. It's just accent lighting on the building.
Excuse me, are you saying you're not, excuse me, are you saying you're not putting any accent lighting on the roof?
On the penthouse.
I mean,
he said if we do, it'll just be
If we
similar.
do, it would be the same fixture.
But can we stop with the ifs and maybes and possiblies? Are we going to have lighting on the roof?
Yes,
Are
yes,
there going to be sconces or something on the roof?
yes.
Because
We'll have
that's
the
enough that
same
we've had this
fixture.
today.
We'll have the same fixture.
There
that
will
we
be
show there.
fixtures on the
Right.
roof at the
Correct.
penthouses.
Downward facing, no more than 2,700 Kelvin.
That is not a downward fixture,
No, but
so
we would
pick
do,
something else.
you would do a downward facing light, am I correct?
Okay, we would need to see those fixtures. Can we put that on the list, please?
Is there any light on the balconies?
No.
Can you show the top of the building again, the elevation? Sure. So is that just the way we're looking at it? Because it seems like the windows from the penthouse, well, they're not centered in that wall though, of the penthouse wall, are they? They appear not to be, and they're sort of not in line with the windows and that go down the middle of the building.
Right, so in the penthouse, there's a stair on the right side. So within that space, it's centered between the stair and the wall.
That penthouse is also set back.
It's
right?
set back
Like the ground floor, the
significantly.
doors don't really, in the storefront, but, yeah.
Well, while we're talking about that, is it true that that the two residential doors are totally two different residential doors on the first floor? Not on the first floor, I guess it's on the ground level? Are
Right,
they
so-
two different doors?
Right, one is meant to be kind of an exit, and this is really just meant to kind of blend in with the facade, and then this is the main entrance for the residential, so this is more of a glass door. So that was the intent there.
Is that something that is that what the board thinks is
So are people not
okay?
exiting the entrance door?
They can.
They can.
Yes,
It looks like
this is the main.
So they can come in and out
residential
both
access.
doors?
They come and go here, and this is really only an emergency exit kind of use.
Well, so if I live there, can I use the left door to go in?
To go in,
Yes.
you would use the door on the right.
But can I use the door on the
Can you?
left?
I would say you could.
Okay, so it's always open, I can come and go with
No.
key fob or
It's
whatever?
not
Wouldn't
open.
those be emergent, wouldn't they be
It's
locked
an
doors, no
emergency
entry,
egress
locked
door.
doors?
It's an emergency egress door.
All right, so you can't go in.
All right, so, yeah, I agree with you, Barbara, that it looks incongruous, right, that you have two different doors.
Right, but then you have the sconces that make it look like you can. I don't know,
Yeah,
I'm
well,
torn about that.
yeah, but the ground floor doesn't look, shouldn't the doors be the same?
Right, they either should be the same or they should be of the same modern, colonial, I mean, not that I'm an architect, believe me, but they're two different styles of doors
Yeah,
completely.
same door, but one's glass and one is
Right.
panels or something.
I'll be honest with you, it's the whole thing, like, as you said, Donna, it looks off.
Yeah,
Like, the retail,
because they're
the
not
windows are all, the
perfectly
windows and
aligned,
doors
they're
are
just slightly
all
off.
not
They
aligned.
also have-
You have three panels to the right and four panels.
In other words, if you're gonna do it, like, the door entrance for the store, if
Well, move it
it's-
over one.
Unless it's invisible, where it looks just like the plate glass, but if it looks different from the plate glass, then it should be matching, at least in alignment with the upper floor windows. And again, if we look at the penthouse is totally off.
A few things. First of all, can you realign those doors?
Yes, we can
You
realign the
those
doors.
doors. In terms of the doors on either side, the one door is leading into the lobby. That's the main focus of the doors, where people are gonna enter and access, am I correct?
Correct.
The other door is merely an egress door, emergency egress door, correct?
Correct.
So you're not bringing attention to that architecturally because
No.
that's not the focus of the building, am I correct?
Correct.
So you want that basically to be nondescript, correct?
Right,
Correct.
and it should not have panels like that.
Which is fine.
Well,
Okay.
so is the main entrance door gonna be clear glass, frosted glass,
Clear glass.
clear glass? Maybe to make it seem a little bit more symmetrical, you use a glass door for the secondary entrance, but it's frosted.
Mm-hmm,
So.
That's fair.
And you might have to put some. very
But it's not a
faint sign that
secondary
says-
entrance.
We'll make it just like a panel.
A panel door is fine, just a nondescript
You
panel.
know, don't make it look like a door, make it look like part of the storefront panel.
Now, it's something nondescript, so it doesn't bring attention to itself, that I agree. So we'll change that door.
And then how are you lighting, so the
It's not
entrance?
nondescript. I feel like it should look like the first door, but just not be transparent.
Not at all. No, because it's like what you see on most buildings. Most buildings, you don't notice them, but a lot of your buildings have an
Yeah.
emergency egress. But you don't want people going to that door because that's not where they're going in, they're going to the main
Agreed,
entrance.
but
So you want to
to-
make it nondescript.
To their point, there's a certain symmetrical feeling about the ground floor, where you're flanking the center of the mass with these two doors, and they don't match, so they feel wonky. Even if it's a solid door without panels, just a plain blank, it's still gonna seem like there's this weird.
I don't think they should match because you don't want to bring attention to it.
I agree you don't wanna bring attention to it. I preferred the old layout, which had the lobby in the front and everything loaded on the right-hand side, and then where the garage was, could have been the storefront entrance. And I thought that was actually a very good split of the ground floor space. But this is what we have.
Yeah, architecturally, this works in terms of the plan that we're proposing. But we would make that door to the left nondescript, and you would center more those commercial doors, am I correct?
Yeah, we can rework the storefront anyway to center the doors and the windows above.
Now, also, in terms of a bulkhead, the redevelopment plan requires a bulkhead, no problem with adding that.
The curb at the storefront, that's not a problem.
Sorry.
Rubber ducky.
I thought my dog was right.
Can I ask you a question? So the east part of the building is not symmetrical, right? So like the eastern part is wider than, I'm talking about split by the 3 long windows, the balconies. So the eastern part is wider than why is that? Why wasn't the building built like designed symmetrically? What stops it from, what stops the 3 bays or whatever full-length windows being in the direct center of the building and equal on each side?
So it's having to do with the layout of the units inside and the split between the living room and the primary bedroom. And it's just the location of the balcony.
So if you want the primary bedroom to match or have sufficient square footage, you can't have that balcony that's basically interjecting into that primary bedroom, am I correct?
Correct.
And that's why you have it a little bit to the left to provide for a nice layout through that unit, am I correct?
Right.
You could have made a smaller balcony. You could have cut the smaller balcony.
I think that the balcony is sized in a way that it would be.
But the balcony is sized appropriate for the space.
Yeah, it's not the balcony, it's the bedroom is 14, almost 15 feet in that dimension. So that's what's determining what's the center, where the center falls. If you made a narrower bedroom, then you'd get your balcony shifted over to the east. Whether it's 12 feet or 10 feet or whatever, where it starts is defined by the bedroom.
Plus, maybe it's just me. I think that asymmetry on floors 2 through 4 looks nice.
Yeah, I'm not bothered by it, but the ground floor, I think, needs to.
Agree.
The asymmetry where?
On the floors 2, 3, and 4. Just having the articulation kind of a little off-center.
It's a subjective view of it.
But also then what about the penthouse where, to have that aligned with, to align that a little bit to the right?
So
The thing with the penthouse is that you're never gonna read it in the way that
You'll
you
never
see
see
here
it.
on the plan. It's set so far back that you won't really see that penthouse from the street.
It is centered over the balcony. It's just.
But it's over here.
Well,
the
it's
windows-
two doors with
The
3
whole
for
thing is centered over the
left-hand side.
balconies, but then you just have 2 panels instead
How far
of
back
3.
is the setback?
Because there's a staircase.
Because we're not going to see it. Doesn't
Yeah, but
matter.
then you can't see it.
Yeah.
Tree falls in the forest.
Right.
It is,
I'm guessing around,
14 feet there.
I was gonna say 14.
Shouldn't it be 20? Isn't it supposed to be 20? No?
So
So-
based upon the setback of that balcony or that penthouse, it's around 14 to 15 feet eyeballing it there. You're not really gonna see that from the street, am I correct?
No, I don't believe it would.
Bike racks, or any bike racks being
Hold on a
proposed?
second, that's a definite, if I'm walking on the sidewalk, on the other side of the street, I'm not gonna be able to see it. It's not a maybe, it's a definite.
If you're 14 or 15 feet back, I think you'd be hard pressed to see this.
I mean, the people in the building across the street, that
No, I'm just talking about somebody walking down the sidewalk on the opposite side of the street, they're not gonna be able to see the penthouse.
I think it's gonna be extremely tough for them to see, set back that far.
Does that mean you can't be over 5'10"? I don't know.
Listen, I'm not very tall, so there's no way I'm gonna see it. Somebody taller may see it. Bike racks.
So currently, we do not have bike racks in the building, but we would be open to providing a bike room, take away from some of the retail space and create a bike parking room.
Is that going to include any storage for anyone in the building, or is it just a bike room?
That would just be for bikes.
Bikes, no storage.
And where would that go?
That would go somewhere along here in the retail space, south of the elevator.
It's kind of difficult to envision somewhere.
Well-
When you say somewhere and I say somewhere, it may not be the same at all.
Right.
Can you,
So I'm responding to the comments that were in the review letter. I'm trying to describe it as best I can, but
Well, why don't we level set, Jim? We're gonna need to see this. Because there's so many things that are maybe possibly, they weren't included, they're not here. We're gonna need to see them at some point. So just put them on the list and we'll see them. So we can move on.
okay.
We'll see them. Because I don't have that much of an imagination.
When we're all done, we'll go down the list.
Yes, once we're all down, we'll go down the
What
list.
you want, listen, we read through the review letter and what a lot of these responses are in response to the review letter. But there's only so much amount of time to be able to get revised plans before we come to the hearing. So certainly we'll accommodate a lot of these suggestions in that review letter, the review letters.
And I had asked for a bike rack on the street. If there's a bike room, I don't need a bike rack on the street.
Yeah, they serve two different purposes.
It won't hurt because.
Oh, okay, then never mind. We'll keep the bike rack.
It'll help people with retail.
Yeah.
And then what did the bedroom, but the ample bike.
I think we would have a room similar in size to what we show here for the trash room, which is about 6 by 6, and we'd have wall-mounted bike racks. So you could get 3 on each side, 1 for each unit.
I just have a quick question about the front elevation. I don't know if I'm reading it wrong, but when we're back to the doors and it says sectional garage door, is that just a label?
That's a
Just an
mislabel,
old
and that was
label.
fixed in this elevation here.
Because it's just an old, and then it says, it points to an outdoor wall sconce. I think on the other side, right? Like that arrow, the leader goes, well, this is updated, oh, I see.
Yeah,
I see, I got you.
those were things that were fixed
I
here.
see, sorry, I couldn't, I was looking at my screen. Thank you.
In terms of signage, what is being proposed for the building?
We're showing a sign above the retail door there, and we would have that sign comply with the size that's allowed by the zoning.
And what about for the retail space?
The retail space, they could either have signage on the glazing, or we could relocate this building signage to above the entry door and just have the number 7-Eleven above the entry door, and this could become retail.
And we'll submit plans that'll show where we're going to put both the retail and the residential signage, am I correct?
Correct.
So the storefront, is it above the glass, like it's shaded? Is that just frosted glass?
That's just a shadow.
It's just shadow?
Yeah, that's all clear
It's
glass.
all clear glass.
Correct.
So the 7-Eleven banks, that's off center?
It's centered on the door, but if those doors move, the
Yeah, 'cause
signage would
that
be
looks
centered
a
on
little, yeah.
That'll be centered, and that'll be the commercial sign. You'll move the 7-Eleven to over the doorway, am I correct?
Correct.
Could you do a blade sign too?
It requires variance relief for that.
Goes in the, right away.
For the front facade, you're proposing a red brick, am I correct?
Correct.
And that's similar to what you find on the building on the right-hand side when you're facing this building, correct?
Correct.
So it's similar to and consistent with what you're finding on Bangs Avenue, even buildings further down on Bangs Avenue, closer to Cookman, am I correct?
Yes.
And in terms of the height, it's 3/1. The height is similar to the building immediately to the right, the adjacent building, correct?
Correct.
Similar in height also across the street where you have the 3/1 also, correct?
Correct.
So it's similar to what you're finding in adjacent buildings, although there is variation on the street, correct?
Yes.
And you're using black frame windows, is that what you're using?
Black frames, yes.
And what is the masonry under the, what is that, the gray, is it stone, what is it?
Architectural metal.
Oh, it's metal? Okay.
You mean the balcony?
No, under the balconies, yeah.
The balcony.
horizontal,
Yeah, what
that's-
is the balcony?
Yeah, that would be architectural metal trim.
As far as mail and deliveries, where is that going to take place?
We will revise the plan to show a small mailroom in the main entrance.
And that'll provide both for mail and delivery such as UPS or FedEx or
Correct.
Amazon.
Can we, I know that you said yes to a lot of things, but when we're talking about the red brick, you'd mentioned that there's red brick on the building right next door. Is that the same, are we going with the same color? Is it going to be different? Because I know that you also said, well, it looks the same as some other things closer to Cookman. So is it like the building next door, or is it going to be different than the building next door?
I don't think you want to match exactly.
No, I'm asking.
Yeah, I think it would be similar. I wouldn't say it's an exact match, nor would we try to exact match it.
So next time you come, you'll have samples.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
As far as the red brick goes, it's going to be brick, correct? I seem to have seen someplace on one of your drawings where it indicated a brick face. It's not going to be a brick face, it's going to be actually brick.
Well, it's probably not going to be your massive bricks. That's not used in any construction, or rarely is that used. It's usually that.
It would be a thin brick product, which is a clay brick, but it's a thinner brick and it's
That's a brick
adhered.
veneer.
It's
It's not a brick.
It's an adhered veneer brick.
Yeah, rarely do you see buildings going up anymore with actual brick.
So similar to what was used on 527
Correct.
Bangs and 614 Cookman.
Correct.
Yeah.
Except the fine house.
And speaking of 527 Bangs, the facade in the front is going to have, it's not going to be floor-to-ceiling glass, it's going to have a knee wall?
You're talking the commercial?
Yes.
Correct. We're going to add that in there.
Okay.
What's it called?
That's the
Knee wall?
bulkhead.
The bulkhead.
So it'll be a solid panel
Yeah, we addressed that.
from the sidewalk up.
Okay.
And why have your attention? I assume all the balconies are the same size?
Yes.
Is that correct?
The front and rear? Let's double check on this.
Reason I ask is because on the plan, it's not dimensioned. There's dimension on one balcony, and there's a dimension on another one, but they're not, all the balconies are not dimensioned.
It's 12 1 by
Yeah,
5.
they're about 12 1 by 5 foot, give or take an inch.
Yeah, the one in the back says 5 foot 1 inch.
Yeah.
Just like them all labeled as to what they really are.
Okay, it says 12 foot 3 inches wide in the back and 5 foot 1 inch depth. And the front's a little narrower, a little smaller in general.
All right, going through the review letters, I'm going to start with the Avakian letter that we marked as B3 for identification. I believe we've gone through most of this. Going to page 312, maintenance personnel access to the roof. We've already discussed the ladder and the hatch, am I correct?
Correct.
15, the requirements for bike racks and storage. We've already discussed that, am I correct, and what we're proposing?
Yes.
16, we've discussed, exterior lighting. We've discussed and provided testimony on the exterior lighting. We're going to update the plans on that, am I correct?
Yes.
16, max temperature, the exterior lights not to exceed 2700 Kelvin, not an issue, am I correct?
Correct.
In terms of compatibility with surrounding buildings, number 17, you just testified as to the brick relative to that, am I correct?
Yes.
Number 18, we'll submit a letter from the utility provider, not an issue with that. Utility distribution installed underground, no issue with that. Got the recycling, signage, in '22. We've discussed that, am I correct?
Yes.
Yes. The last page of the engineer review letter,
Can we have
29.
the signs? Is a variance required for the sign proposed?
We're going to comply.
You're gonna-
29, the rear access, we've already discussed that, am I correct?
Yes.
Access to staircase B, we've discussed that, am I correct?
Yes.
And the elevations, we discussed that already, am I correct, 31?
Yes.
Going to B4, which is a CCH letter, again, I think we've covered most, if not all of this.
Can you,
Sure.
give us a calculation on the plans for the storefront glass area?
Yes.
So that we're.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll revise it. As it is now, it's 73%, but we'll include that in
I
the
thought it
plan.
was on there, of course. Okay, you're gonna give us the bulkhead on the bottom of the storefronts.
Correct,
Still doing sliding glass doors.
correct.
You're gonna shift the window alignment slightly of the, or I guess the commercial space doors.
the doors, right.
Okay. You're gonna bring us samples for the brick, you're gonna change the sign, you give us cut sheets for the lights. You're giving us a bike rack out front, and a street tree. Please, definitely add the, planting details from 30s, 57 to 12, street tree. Thank you. Okay, lighting. You're gonna enlarge the refuse area. Is the commercial garbage gonna be with the residential, or?
We'll take a look at that, but
Okay.
we'll do something on the plans to reflect that.
Meters, utility meters. Where are we putting utility meters?
The utility meters, we propose to locate them in the exit corridor on the ground floor, but this will have to be coordinated with the utility provider.
Yeah, the problem is that
Yeah, I know.
they're gonna dictate ultimately where they're gonna go.
Does the board want to, give them some guidance about any exterior mounted meters? If they need to be, or have them come back if there need to be exterior mounted meters?
It's up to, what's Sam?
So I think what Donna's saying is like aesthetically, if they're gonna be on the front of the building, is that what you're saying right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's saying like if they're gonna have to be put on the front of the
We're
building,
gonna have several
what would you like to
electric
see?
meters.
It's very limited, there's very limited space for it to go.
It'll have to be in the right of way. If it's
Well,
put
and
there.
on the storefront.
Right, yeah.
One thing we can suggest, although ultimately it's gonna be the utility company that dictates where the meters are gonna go, where that left door is, that egress door, we can push that back a little bit and then try to get the meters, to see if they can agree to
Kind
have
of like
those
what you did
meters.
on 527 banks and, yeah,
Put a little alcove in it.
That makes sense.
Mechanical, so, and are we gonna have the commercial HVAC in the back or on the roof?
Probably not.
On the roof.
Okay.
So the utility room is not for the utilities, the meters.
Not that kind of utility.
Do we have the type of glass? Because I know you'd mentioned about the calculation for the storefront.
Yeah, where it's.
But wasn't there
Yeah,
a type of glass also that you were questioning?
They testified it was gonna be clear.
It was very clear. Okay, that's what you
The door was gonna
wanted.
be clear glass.
Okay.
And is the light, so like at night, you remember the words about the light infiltration out from the street, from the hallway, the entrance?
We don't have any information about the interior lighting.
Oh, it's not gonna be a garage light, it's gonna be, interior hallway light.
Right, and they agreed to the bike rate.
Yeah, interior bike roof, right there, you got that.
Yes.
Donna, on your letter on page 6, there was a question of, they were saying that there are red brick and gray railings. I didn't see any gray railings here. Is that
The
a change?
railings on the balconies?
But it says on the proposed building, it says gray railings, gray stucco accents.
And he said that's metal.
The railings are,
Yeah, are the railings going to be gray?
They show gray.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're showing.
Charcoal trim, cable rail.
Cable rail.
Gray, stucco.
So the metal would be gray or black metal, gray.
Yeah.
Charcoal.
I mean, charcoal, black, does that mean gray, does it mean black?
No, I'm saying that because the buildings next door are black.
Yeah.
So are we agreeing as a group that they should be gray? Because that's
Well-
different.
So I don't know what the difference is between charcoal and black as a decorative colors. So
Without samples.
he's testified to black for trim. The plans call out charcoal, cable rail, gray paint finish, black aluminum frame windows. Do you want to see what charcoal looks like
Well-
compared to black?
Well, no, not charcoal as opposed to black, I'm looking at gray. Because it says red brick with gray railings. Everything in that area has either charcoal or black railings from what I see. All the buildings in that area have black or charcoal.
But then, that's a question, again, it's subjective taste. Do you want to match every building, or do you want to do something a little bit different?
I'm asking
Yeah,
what,
and
I'm
not
asking
saying
what
it
you're
needs to
proposing.
match the building next door or whatever else is in the neighborhood, but I think it would be fair for you to understand what the colors are.
Then that should be with the materials that we've requested. We should
So
have
you want
that.
the colors for the.
For the
trim and
railings.
the railings?
For the railings.
For the railings.
For the railings, as well as the brick. And like you'd said that there was a difference in charcoal and black, so whatever that's going to be.
Give us some samples for the metals.
Sure.
Can you refresh my memory about the setbacks, the rear setbacks here? That what, there were none required?
There are none required.
This backs up to what, the very hardware, right?
That's a
Lot,
parking lot for the hardware store.
which is probably eventually a development site anyhow. And they would have no setbacks either, right? Two buildings.
And that was the purpose of the CBD. They wanted to create that semi-urban area because that is what had existed
Yeah, but
historically.
I mean, listen, I don't know anywhere where, where you build residential buildings up above. And first of all, I know you can't have legal operable windows within 30 feet of each other, I think, or even 50 feet of each other in New York City. But certainly 10 foot looking into somebody's window, if they both did a 5-foot setback. But here, you'd have windows on top of windows. It's not you're following the law, it's just bad.
So I think part of the thing was, there was an anticipation that maybe more than 30-foot wide lots were going to be redeveloped, and make it more closer to a full block redevelopment. Existing buildings like 614 Pickering, revitalization of buildings like that, they're already building a building. But yeah, these
And
are.
there's something to think about going forward in the city, right? That, nobody built here for years, but if you can build up, you build buildings next to each other and stuff.
There's not a lot left in the CBD.
In the CBD, correct, yeah. Even Main Street
Yeah, there
is
are
tight.
very few vacant lots on the CBD.
Did you go over everything that you wanted to, Don?
Yeah, I think they've addressed
Okay.
everything that I have
Right.
concern about.
Can you just refresh our memories on page 6 of 12 where it says lot encroachment? Does the neighbor to the west, is it just that they're going to have to, I don't know, do they have to board up their windows, or do they just leave their windows and you just build an inch away from them? I mean, how does that work? I'm just, only because I don't know.
I can't say what they are going to.
Or what do they have to do anything? That's what I guess what I'm asking.
That I don't know. I do know that my client has reached out to them.
Okay.
And I know that they had tried to get in touch with my client who's been playing telephone tag. So we are trying to work through with them.
Okay.
The lot line.
Yeah, I was just wondering about if you owned, like, let's say if you represented that client, the one on the west, do they have to do something? Or can they just leave them as their windows and, it is what it is?
I would suspect that they have to do it.
Did they have to do
You
something?
know, again, I'll talk New York, I've lost windows in a building. You know, you have windows that are on your lot line, that's why there's a difference between lot line windows and regular windows. So if they had lot line windows that could be fireproof, well, they gotta be, closed up and
So
fireproof.
then they have to pay for that. That's,
Not us, not them.
I get it. You're right. I just didn't know what the law on that would be. So in New York it is, you have to close it up, but over here, we're not really sure. And that's not really for the board to, it's not within our purview at all, it's just a question.
Construction officials.
Okay. All right.
Is my understanding correct that the doors on the commercial unit, when they open, encroach on the sidewalk? Is that correct?
They do swing outward. I believe they would swing over the line.
Right away.
That's the commercial,
No.
the retail store,
It looks like the residential does.
residential show.
Oh, no, that's, yeah, the door is slightly over.
Well, if,
We'll recess that so that the doors don't swing.
they
down.
should, but also, as you mentioned, that if we end up putting the mechanicals there, that's gonna be a whole, another ball of wax, because which way is the door gonna go? But you have enough room to work with that. Okay. Any other questions from planning board members? Any other questions from our professionals? Any questions from the public? No. Okay. Do we have to do the comments from the public now?
No, because they're gonna come back.
No, I understand. I'm just saying
We'll do
that.
that when we're all done.
Okay, once we're all done. Okay. All right, so do we want to go through the list of things that we are interested in seeing besides the list that Donna already provided?
Well, I don't know.
No, not when we discuss it.
Okay, so should we go through? Because I have it's up to you which way we want to go.
If you have a list.
I've got a list.
Go ahead.
All right, we're going to show where the hatch ladder is. We're going to show where the bike room is. Show where the signage will be. We're going to need to see where the mailboxes are going to be. We're going to show where the refuse area is going to be, the expanded with retail and non-retail. Show the calculation about the storefront glass. We're going to show the steps on the rear. We're going to show the back windows on all the bedrooms and whatever, and dining rooms or whatever. Let's just say we're going to show all the windows. All right? We're going to show the door at the back of the building. Besides the steps, we want to see the door too.
Floor plan labels.
Floor plan labels have to be revised. We want to see the fixtures on the penthouse, the light fixtures on the penthouse. We want to see the realignment of the retail doors. We want to see the door that's going to be used for the exit door on the first floor, on the retail floor. We want to see the setback of the penthouse. I don't think that we have that. I don't think that we actually saw that. Like the 14 feet, when we were talking 14 feet, 15 feet, we want to actually see what that is. We want to remove anything on all the plans having to do with garage door references, because that doesn't exist anymore. We want to see the samples of the facades, the gray, the charcoal, all that. We want to see the knee wall and the brick. Yeah, we want to see the brick. And we want to add the balcony dimensions. I think that's...
Do you want clarification of, was the building set back on the west side or not? We see.
Yes, we see a little space. What's the real
Yeah, what's
setbacks
the-
on all sides?
Did you say the hatch?
The hatch, yes. I said the hatch.
The other doors that be adjusted out of right away as well,
The windows, the gas.
so. Not sure if you covered it, Barbara, you said bike racks, but interior bike room and.
Yeah, interior bike room and add the bike rack on the outside.
Refuse room.
Yes.
The refuse room, yes. And we also mentioned about the exit door where the mechanicals might be. How far back will that go? And where would the mechanicals end up? If that's where,
Was there an issue about the location of the retail door?
yes, that also. Yes, I had mentioned that. The movement of the green roof so that the hatch is not in the green roof. Let's see what else I have. I think that is everything that I have.
How about adding the site view from the street as to the
Penthouse?
penthouse?
Yes, that's fair. Does anybody else have anything else that they might have had in their notes that I didn't catch? No one? All right.
Oh, you got the lighting on the penthouses?
Yes.
Yeah, got that.
And
Yeah, please put a note on the plan that you're not gonna, no balcony lights.
Okay.
Yeah, unless you're gonna want to change that and submit.
Well, it'll
I
be.
I think we said we're gonna add some balcony that are downward and.
Go ahead, then bring it in and show the board the details and the
I
lights.
think I would like a note on the architectural plans that indicate mechanical ventilation will be provided for any
Yes.
of those bedrooms. or
Yes.
sleeping rooms.
Please, we could have that?
Yeah, that would have been, I had that down as a condition of approval anyway, so that's fine, put it in there.
There was also something that I noticed on, I'm sorry, the engineering plans. There's a fence where there's a 6-foot-high board-on-board aluminum fence. Is that staying?
I believe so.
Rear property line.
Is it? Yes?
I believe, I'll double check on that, but
All right, so
I thought
why don't we
the
add that to the
testimony-
list?
But I thought
If it's
the
going to
testimony
stay and if
last
that's what it's
time-
going to be.
I thought there was testimony last time as to.
It could have been last
It's on
time.
the plan.
It's on the plan. If we're going to have it, let's keep it on the plan. If it's not, let's remove it, because we didn't mention it today, that's all. Anything else? No? Okay. Do you have what you need, Chuck?
Yes, I have what I need. I believe Andy has opinions. The only thing, obviously, we're gonna have to set another date, Andy. I'm gonna need you to waive any time requirements on the MLUL.
Wait.
Thank you. And I guess
So,
you need a date.
it looks like, I'm looking, but you can look too. Because the date in order to get submissions, it depends on how soon you can get the modifications in. Because if we can get the modifications in by the 10th of February,
Exactly 7 days, that's
and that's tight.
tight.
If you can't do that, then it would have to be getting them in by March 3rd.
That's a week.
I know, I understand it, but if not, I'm just trying to back into a date that we can support.
If we get them in within a week, what date are you looking?
If you can get it in by the 10th of February, we can see you on March 17th.
He's already here on March 17th.
Wait, actually.
What do I have?
That's changed?
Yeah, you're already here for 527 Banks. But, yeah, you're correct, so 210.
If you can get it in by 210, we can do 317. If you can't do it by 210, which is fine.
Reports, or do you just
Sorry?
want to be?
Oh, no, we won't report, whoa, we want reports.
No, why don't we do this? Why don't we put it down and we're gonna try to make the submission date? If for whatever reason we can't, we'll just kick it off.
Well, here's the reason why I disagree with that, and that's only me, is that if something else comes up, I don't want to hold a spot for you on the possibility that you
Well,
might
we're gonna know
make
within
it.
a week though.
Well, do we have anything that's coming, that you know of? Can we hold that spot?
Beyond the 17th?
No, be for February 10th, to have the reports to have the submissions by the 10th. Do you see anything coming down the line?
Why do you need them by the 10th if you're gonna have it over a month later? Don't you need them 4 weeks?
Because we need to have the reports.
But isn't it normally 4 weeks?
I don't know what the dates are.
That's 5 weeks.
17th.
5 weeks.
We get 3 weeks.
They get 3 weeks.
Because you want them a week earlier.
Yeah, I want a week earlier, so that you can have them a week
So that
earlier.
would be 4 weeks, so that would give us until February 17th, not the 10th.
I don't want, there are certain dates that Marie has on these
It's
lists.
5 weeks from the date for the submission for CCH and Avakian to get reports in.
So are we doing the 17th, we're shooting for the 17th, is that what we're doing?
That's what they're saying. I don't want to, there's no pressure here, there really isn't. I'm just asking a question, to get a date.
Can you get it done?
I think so.
Because this is a lot.
Yeah, otherwise.
These are a lot of changes.
April 7th, and deadline to submit is going to be March.
No,
3rd.
we'll get it within a week.
Okay. So what I would like to ask our professionals, that if you don't get what you need in time, for you to get that time, hear from us and we will move it. Because I don't want any pressure here of people not getting what they need and not having enough time to do what they need.
The plan is to carry it
To the 17th
March
of
March.
March 17th.
We've got the 10th of February for submissions.
That's right.
And so if you carry it to the 17th of March without further notice, that's fine.
Yes?
If in fact you can't make the 17th, then you'll have to renotice.
It'll be April 7th.
If you go to another date, I can hold you, I can avoid the expense and time of renoticing for the 17th.
We'll get it in by the
That's
10th,
fine.
but if we didn't get it in, which I'm confident we will get it in, the 17th you can just,
I'll just carry it for another cycle.
Yeah.
On the 17th, that's fine.
so we don't have to renotice, but we'll get it in. We want to move this.
All right, then I'm counting on CCH and Avakian to let me know if it didn't make it, and we're just gonna carry it to April. So we'll know by the 10th of February whether or not we're going to hear it or not. And that's fine. Okay? All right, can I get a motion to move this application without notice to March 17th, 2025?
I'll move that.
Second.
James Bonanno?
Yes.
Councilwoman Clayton? Yes. Jim Henry?
Yes.
Jeremy Hoffman?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Jen Souter?
Yes.
Daniel Shinameo?
Yes.
Vice Chair Gunnan?
Yes.
And Chairwoman Barbara Krizak.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All righty. All right, Jack, it's all you.
Okay, the last item is the letter. Do you have a copy, Marie, to walk into?
I do, yes.
Okay, let's mark that B, whatever, tonight, K1, today's date. They responded, I sent a copy to everyone.
Yes.
They've addressed the issues that we had concerning the quantity of spaces that are on site and available. So I believe they're ready to go. Based on the contents of the letter from January 29, 2025.
Okay, so that there are 14 spaces, there are a minimum of 14 spaces on the lot. There are 11 units, and there are 3 spaces available. And essentially, the residential and the museum use those spaces. So there are 14 spaces available.
There are 20 spaces available. They only have-
20 spaces available, and there are 14.
There are 6 extra spaces
Okay,
available.
so for the museum, there are 6 extra spaces that the museum can use anytime, anywhere, whenever they like. Which is
No,
not what we heard
14 are-
yesterday.
14 are required for the residences and the museum,
Yes, but they have 20.
but they have 20.
Yes.
So those six other spaces can be used for anything else they want.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
But the museum spaces are included in that 14.
That's right. That's right. So we don't need to go to the church to go get the other spaces
Yes.
on the weekend. Okay?
So board satisfied with that? I mean, legally, I am against the ordinance, it meets the intent, and they're talking about there's sufficient spaces there. Okay?
Yes.
All right, I'll let Mr. Memore know tomorrow.
Does anybody feel differently? Just speak up. Okay.
Okay?
Done. All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Yes.
All in favor, none opposed?
Aye.
Give all these things to be scheduled.